Good afternoon. Welcome to Who's Tom and Dick? With your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too.
How are you, Martin?
I'm good. You all right?
You were just going to ask me how I was, wasn't you?
I was, yeah.
I'm a lot better now the sun is shining.
Now I'm not going to.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
How's your week been, all right?
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I've not got out much because of the weather.
Yeah,
but,
it's been terrible, isn't it?
same as probably everybody. So
But grey skies are turning to blue today because we've got a special guest.
we have, and I'm going to introduce him right now. So today we've got the son of Colchester United legend Peter Wright, and and he's played. And Steve has played over 350 league games that I added up for various teams. He's played for Colchester United. He's played for Wrexham. He's played for Torquay. He's played for Crewe Alexandra. And then he had a little spell in Finland as well in between all that lot. So he made his league debut on the 8th of April 1978. But and as I say, I'm going to welcome Steve Wright.
Hello, Steve. Nice to have you on board today.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here. Thank you very much for having me on. And it's lovely to see you both, Martin and Patrick.
Well, we're going to take you right back to the beginning, first of all. So we obviously know that, you started off with Colchester United. So you're the best man to tell us the story.
Yes, I joined Colchester in 1976 as a 17-year-old, as a youth player, and had a very good season and signed under Bobby Roberts as a professional in June 1977. And I went on to play. I think it was around 150 odd games for Colchester under Bobby Roberts as the manager, right through to 1982.
Under Alan Hunter, that's when you finished.
Yeah, but Bobby unfortunately lost his job in the March of 1982, and the new manager coming in at that time was Alan Hunter, the Ipswich and Northern Ireland central defender. He come in, and that was his first managerial role during that year, and he became the manager. And I still had another year left on my contract at that time, and Alan took me in at the end of the season and said, we're looking to bring a few other defenders in for next season. The likes of himself was still playing. He looked to bring Kevin Beattie in as well.
Yeah, I remember Kevin Beattie being at Colchester for a while.
I think he played about 7 or 8 games for Colchester, and I think Alan himself played slightly less than that. So they didn't actually make a lot of appearances. But that actually resulted in me leaving the club with the players that he was looking to bring in, but that transpired to be a good move in the end, because I linked up with the ex-Colchester goalkeeper Jeff Wood, who had just gone over to Finland to play for HJK Helsinki, and he told me they were on the lookout for a defender. He said that they were looking to sign a guy called Keith Osgood, who was a centre half at the time for Coventry City, but Jeff had persuaded them that I was a better option than
I think you were.
So I managed to secure a year's contract over there. But the good thing was that the club had, the season before, had won the Finnish League and had qualified for the European Cup during the season,
which is now the Champions League.
Which is now the Champions League.
For people who know what we're talking about.
So I had the experience of playing in the Finnish top league at the Athletics Stadium in Helsinki.
That was I saw that on videos. That was a beautiful stadium to play in.
With the big running. I think they held the Olympics there many years before, but
right.
That's where we played our home games, and and the joy of the European Cup to play during that season as well. So.
That's a lovely sort of string for your bow, isn't it? The European Cup.
Oh yeah.
I've played in that against Ian Rush. Haven't you, mate? Tell us about it, because you marked him out. Well, he didn't score in the game, did he?
Well, that's right. That was a knockout. It wasn't a group stage as the Champions League is now. It was a straight knockout competition of 2 legs, home and away. We managed to get by Ammonia Nicosia from Cyprus in the first round of that competition, and in the second round, the joy certainly for us 2 English guys that we drew Liverpool, who were the team of the moment back in 1982 in England. They had the likes of Souness and Dalglish and
I can stop you there, Steve, because I've actually got the lineup here of that game and you've missed. Well, you might have gone on to it, but Bruce Grobbler
in goal. That's right.
Yeah, Phil Neal, Alan Kennedy, Phil Thompson, Ronnie Whelan, Alan Hansen, Kenny Dalglish, Sammy Lee, Ian Rush, Dave Hodgson, and Graham Souness, as you said.
Yeah.
That is
some team to play against.
Yeah, and carry on.
Oh well. So the draw came out. We had Liverpool. We played the first leg of that in Helsinki, and amazingly enough, we won the game. My role during that game was to mark Ian Rush. We played a man-to-man system over there in Finland with a sweeper playing behind. So we were man marking. I was marking Ian Rush over the 2 games, but we played the game in Finland first, and we actually won the game by 1-0. Amazingly so. So we went to the second leg at Anfield with a 1-0 lead. Ian Rush obviously didn't score in that first leg with us being a 1-0 win, so he went to Anfield. We actually did quite well for 35 minutes. We were still at winning by 1-0, 0-0 in the game at Anfield, going past 35 minutes. But by half time, we went 3-0 down, courtesy to 2 fantastic goals by Kenny Dalglish. But really, the nice bit for me was that we lost 5-0 in the end, so 5-1 overall on aggregate. But Ian Rush didn't score any of the 5 goals, so I remember like a funny story, if you like. At the time, for those who remember, they used to have little candy cigarettes, and inside these they used to have a football player on a card, and I somehow got hold of an Ian Rush. Ian Rush was
right
inside the candy cigarettes, and I used to keep it in my pocket and bring it out whenever anyone used to mention the game and say, "Look, I've still got Ian Rush's." He's still in there.
Yeah, brilliant. I sort of come in from a different angle with my questions, because we're talking about history and your career from Martin's side, but my side comes in from a totally different angle. And
we'll go back to your career.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you now.
Okay.
So, what do you think of VR?
VAR.
That's what I meant. Isn't that what I said? VAR. What do you think of VAR? Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, if you'd have asked me that question maybe 2 weeks ago, but having watched that incident with the Coventry Manchester United game the other week, I can't believe that Coventry were denied beating Manchester United and getting to the FA Cup final on the strength of something. They're talking about a toenail decision, and I'm still not 100% sure that is offside, even after looking at it 50 times probably, and for them to be denied that. But and some of the decisions, I mean, clear and obvious was the thing they said that it had to be, and I'm not sure that Coventry, I feel so sorry for them not and I think a lot of the Man United supporters themselves felt sorry for Coventry as well, because
guilty, I think, is the word.
To come back from what they did and 3-0 down, weren't they? Forced the game into extra time and achieve and to score that goal right at the end of extra time, and then having the heartbreak of having to lose that game on penalties. I do feel for them, but. I suppose that's technology, and that's what they consider to be the way forward, and some of the decisions out there have clearly proved that is good to have that in place. But when you see the time that it takes to overturn a decision, and all them thousands and thousands of supporters celebrating for 2 minutes, they're in the final, only to have that overturned. I don't think that's the reason it
well, I still don't think that's accurate enough, does it? Because it still boils down to human decision in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it happened in the Villa and Chelsea game that there was a. Did you see that incident?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I mean, from one position, it looked as if he did definitely blatantly push him, and then another, you think, oh, that, it's very, very mild that he just sort of nudged him in the back. But I'm sure you've nudged a few people like that.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'm quite glad VAR wasn't about when I was playing. I think I might have given away.
I quite agree with goal line technology, because the linesman can't see that. But I think leave it to the referee, let him make the decision at the end of the day. We've managed all these years, without it.
Well, what country is it that stopped it? There's one of the countries has stopped at VAR, haven't they?
I do. I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware.
So you might this is with my cancer tablets, Steve. I've got a bad memory. And
I bet you're right. You're probably right.
He's also got a big appetite.
That's why I've got all these notes in front. That's why I've got all these notes in front of me, Steve, so I don't forget nothing. But yeah, there's one country, and they've actually
stopped it. Okay,
it's not Holland, Belgium. No, I'm going to go through all Europe here. But, right, so take us back, Steve, onto your football journey, because was mentioned about Helsinki and all that. And I mean, I'm going in a different order to what you played, but so I want you to carry on your sort of European journey, because I find these very, very interesting. And you went to Wrexham. In Wrexham, it was a different cup you played in, which is one that's now defunct, and it's one that my team won. And tried to win a second time and didn't, but it's a thing called the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yes, that's great. I was lucky enough to when I come back from my Finland experience. Bobby Roberts had then become my old Colchester manager, had then become the manager of Wrexham. So that was nice of him. He got back in touch with me and invited me up to there. And after a couple of weeks training, I signed a contract for Wrexham. And I was there for 2 seasons, but we, on the strength of us playing in the Welsh Cup, because obviously Wrexham are a Welsh team, we qualified for a competition called the Cup Winners' Cup, which in England, the winners of the FA Cup would also qualify for that competition. So we played in the Welsh Cup, but ironically, and I played in this game, we got to the final, and we'd knocked out Cardiff and Swansea, had been the big teams in that, if you like, had been knocked out on the way, and we ended up playing Shrewsbury in the final, who in actual fact are an English team.
Yeah.
So whether we won or lost that game, we were going to qualify for the
okay.
And we did actually lose the final to Shrewsbury.
So Hereford, because Hereford are right on the board, are they in that as well?
Hereford played in we actually beat Hereford during our run that season. Quite ironically, during that Welsh Cup run, we had a bit of a goalkeeping crisis, and Bobby Roberts, at the age of 40-something, appeared in goal for us during one of them games. I think, it might have even been Hereford who we were playing that he played in goal against, and he told me as one of the centre halves that day to make sure that I don't listen to anything the goalkeeper says and don't leave anything, head and kick everything away. But he actually their centre forward got clean through on goal, and he made a really good save with his legs. So he contributed to us actually getting through to the Cup Winners' Cup itself. And the draw in that, I mean, that worked out famously, really, because we drew FC Porto in the first round of that, and the Portuguese team, they had all Portuguese international players in their team, and that was a 2-legged affair again. We played at the Wrexham Racecourse ground for the first game. We won that game 1-0, courtesy of a headed goal by Jim Steele, who was a
He's a big old boy.
striker. Yeah. Still headed goal 1-0. So we went over to Porto for the second leg of that. Again, not really having much hope of getting through, and certainly the fact that after 20 minutes of that game, we went 3-0 down. So we were
3.
They
Blimey.
scored 3 in the first 20 minutes. We were 3-1 down, courtesy of our goal from the home match. But we clawed our way back into the game. And by actually half time, the only 2 times we had gone down their end attacking, we actually scored 2 goals. So at half time, the score was 3-2, 3-all on aggregate, and we were still technically ahead on the away goals, which happened there. So the second half plays out. We were under an awful lot of pressure. We were defending. The goalkeeper was making miraculous saves. They eventually scored about 10 minutes from the end, and you'd think that they'd won the Champions League, as it's the way that they were celebrating against the little minnows from Wrexham with the 4th division. But only for us to go forward in injury time and score a dramatic 3rd goal for us to lose the game 4-3. The goal scorer on that day, that 4th goal, was a guy called Barry Horn.
Yeah, I remember Barry Horn.
His first season at Wrexham, he had just signed his first professional contract, but obviously went on to...
He was in the Welsh team for the last Euros, wasn't he?
He was the Welsh captain for quite a few games.
Yeah, that's right.
And he also saved Everton from going down one year.
That's right, yeah.
A last-minute goal to keep them in the Premier League. So we lose the game 4-3. The final whistle goes, but with our 1-0 win from the home game, we knocked them out on away goals.
That's what I was going to say. So you've won on away goals. So you're now waiting for how do footballers wait for the draw?
Yeah,
you don't sit around a radio, do you?
I sort of in them.
Do they?
I don't think quite as much as the pictures you'd see back in the 60s and the early 70s. But certainly at that time, we were very much aware that the draw was taking place.
That's right, because I've seen a video of Colchester and there's Steve Wigdon at the front there, and that you're drawn with someone, and that you're waiting for the draw in the next round. Who it was, I forget. It wasn't. It says my memory again. I remember that. Yeah, all sitting around the radio.
No, but yeah, we well, I don't think we were sitting around the radio, but it might have even been the television. But we were certainly waiting for the outcome of the draw.
And who did you get?
We drew AS Roma.
Yeah, with Falcao.
They had Socrates, Falcao, Sven-Goran Eriksson was the manager.
That's right,
at that time, and they were, filled with Italian international players. Conte, Bruno Conte was one of their players.
Yeah.
The centre forward, his name escapes me. The Italian. But again, they were a star-studded team, and we were away on the first match in that one, and we were a little bit unfortunate, but we lost it 2-0. One of the goals was a penalty, which I still say it was a corner they had swung in, and a lot of hands and heads went up, and the ref gave a penalty, which I've looked at that goal many times, and I still think it's their player that's handballed the ball, and the ref's got that one wrong, but.
Because these games are available on YouTube.
You can watch the highlights.
Still to watch, because I'm...
certainly the Porto, Barry Horn's goal at the end, I often flick back. And
so something funny happened before the Roma game. Can you remember as a player? You remember?
You got me on that
They had to remark the pitch. Yeah, that's probably why you stood...
on that one, huh?
Yeah, that's probably why you stood there for so long. And you probably didn't realise at the time, but yeah, the referee, well, so the commentator said, ordered the man to. They never actually showed him.
No! I think you're talking about the home match.
Yeah, Wrexham.
Wrexham. Sorry, yeah. We played away in Rome on the first.
Oh, sorry, I was playing a different game. I thought it was on the home game.
So we were 2-0 down going to the home game.
Yeah, carry on your story now.
Yeah. No, you're right. His name was Gordon Rich, the groundsman.
Oh, was it?
And he had to come onto the pitch.
Yeah.
And remark out some of the lines that. That's right. We were actually standing around waiting for the kick.
Yeah, I'm watching the videos, and then suddenly they say
he came back on the pitch. Well, yeah, but we gave a really good account of ourselves in that second leg, and we had them under a lot of pressure. I remember many goalmouth scrambles where they were, we hit the crossbar and it came down. It might have gone over the line, like the England goal in the World Cup. We certainly had them for the international players that we were under a lot of pressure, and they were. Tactics were coming in where they were wasting time and going down injured, the Italian tactics, if you like. And we eventually bailed out. They scored right near the end, 89 minutes. So we lost it 3-0 in the end. I mean,
oh, God, what an experience. And how old were you?
I was in my early 20s at the time.
Oh, so yeah, that's what all these youngsters nowadays going around and all that, and you was doing all that and playing all against that lot.
Yeah. So I ended up being I consider myself a journeyman footballer through the lower leagues of the Football League, but actually having played 8 games in 2 high class European competitions. So and against four fantastic teams as well.
Yeah, so, I was, as I said, at that the Aston Villa game. Will you tell the story?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
Because I'm going to tell you some of the lineup as well.
I think that was 1979. That was during my time at Colchester. But we drew Aston Villa, who were in the top league then, in the League Cup. That was the League Cup at that time, and that was a 2-legged affair. At Layer Road we played, and we actually lost by 2-0. I believe that a young Gary Shaw,
I think he did,
was making one of his first games, and he scored both goals for Aston Villa that day. But we went back to Villa Park and proceeded to overturn that 2-0 deficit and win the game by 2-0, and they were certainly a full strength team with all their players at the time, like Gordon Cowans and Peter With and
Jimmy Rimmer. Well, it was nearly their European Cup.
That's right. That was, Mortimer,
Tony Morley.
Morley,
John Dean, Gary Shaw, they all played in that game.
Yes, that's John Goodman.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
So that game went to extra time, and after extra time, it then went to penalties. I was only I think I was 19 at the time then, and so we had our 5 penalty takers named, but that all went through, and the scores were still level. So then it started getting down to the players who weren't in the original 5, and it was left to myself, Mickey Walker, the goalkeeper, an experienced goalkeeper, and Eddie Rolls, our centre forward at the time, who you would think would have lapped up wanting to take a penalty, but he was adamant he didn't want to take one, so he put himself in 11th place. Mickey said he would, as he was an experienced player and I wasn't, he had actually taken penalties during training and actually taken them quite well. So,
did you practice before the game?
We did practice penalties. Yeah. We had players like Ian Allinson and Bobby Goff in there who were good penalty takers. So the order at the end was Mickey Walker was 9th, I was 10th, and Eddie Rolls put himself at 11th. So it was still level. Mickey went to take his penalty, and he took it like he was taking a goal kick. He blasted it over the crossbar. They then proceeded.
They're still looking for it today. I think.
Still looking for it. I think it came back to Layer Road.
That was for you guys at Colchester. That was a huge, big game. And what have you said anything? Because Mickey Walker has sort of been at Colchester quite a few years. Has anybody said anything, or has he said anything?
I don't think anybody would dare say anything to him. He was a goalkeeper that when you had shooting practice, if you scored a goal past him, he'd get your ball out of the net and kick it as far as he could. Especially if you tried to chip him.
Really?
He would catch the ball and kick it over another field to make you go and get it. He was quite a dominating figure.
He lived in my village because his nickname was Bures.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Well, talking of nicknames, you had a nickname.
Charlie.
Yeah, well, how did that come about then? Are you allowed to tell us on air?
No, I honestly don't. I don't know. I believe it was something to do within the early Colchester days. I think there was a few older people who used to do the kit and things like that. But there was a character called Charlie Wright who used to. I think he might have even been goalkeeper at Colchester back in the early 50s.
Right.
And at the time there was a film out called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and there was a bloke in there called Charlie Cheswick, and they reckon that I used to resemble him a bit.
Oh, okay.
That was involved in it as well.
Yeah. So going back to this these glory nights, you also played against Man United.
Yeah, that's right. I think that was the same season. Manchester United at home, a great tie, a great
And one year young again, not about 19 again.
I think that might have been the season after the Villa game,
But still very. I mean, you're playing against the likes of Gary Bailey, Albiston, Buchan, McQueen, Greenough, Coppell, McElroy, Thomas, the other Greenough, Macari, and Ritchie.
Yeah,
What a lineup!
Yeah. I played left back that night. It was a night game. It actually got called off on the Saturday because of snow, and it was played in the midweek on a night, Tuesday night. At Layer Road, it was packed there. I was played left back. I was actually marking Steve Coppell. He was playing on the right wing.
He was pretty handy.
but we played really well, and it got to quite near the end of the game. Certainly into the 80-odd minutes where it was 0-0, and the envy of thinking to go to Old Trafford for a replay was so close, and they scored. Jimmy Greenough scored from a scrambled goal from a corner in about the 82nd minute to
Steve Wiggle owns up that he should have stopped him.
There's a picture that appeared in the local paper the next night, and it shows Steve Downman really frustrated and kicking the ground. I didn't like to mention that Steve Wigner was meant to be marking it.
No,
you brought it up.
He owned up to it live on air, I think.
So we actually had some good chances that night, and they cleared a couple off the line. And it's a shame we didn't get to go to Old Trafford. But
where did you serve your football apprenticeship?
Well, in the local Colchester area.
Yeah.
Colchester Athletic. I've played all my youth football through. At 16, I actually got signed. I went to Cambridge.
Right.
I got signed. We played some sort of Essex versus Cambridgeshire match, and I was playing for Essex. But after that match, someone approached my dad and asked if I was with any club, and which I wasn't at that time. And even though I was sort of playing locally for the likes of Essex, and I went to Cambridge, and I nearly signed as an apprentice at Cambridge, but I didn't. But I played for Cambridge for a whole season from 16 to 17. In their youth team, of which Ron Atkinson was the manager at Cambridge.
Of course he was, yeah, that's right.
And I actually played in a few friendly games where Ron was playing himself.
He loved to get involved, didn't he?
Yeah, very, very, very much so. And it was actually the likes of Colchester coming in for me that probably stopped me signing for Cambridge. Because as soon as Colchester there was an interest, that was always my first.
Well, the thing is, your dad has played for them,
but my dad would have persuaded.
The annoying thing in your sort of career must be that everybody says it's only because your dad played for Colchester that you played, but you would not have played over 350 league games for everybody. I think just on your dad.
If you count all the cup games as well, that goes well over 400.
Yeah,
league games. I know. I take that. What people say. I mean, they used to call me son of a lot of the players, ribbing me in the Colchester dressing room. But my dad. I mean, he was a fantastic servant for Colchester United.
Just give him a quick mention. I mean, because also at the old ground. I like that little.
He played for Colchester all his career, and until Mickey Cook overtook him, he was the record appearance maker for Colchester's over 500 games. Playing from the left wing, he claims to me that he scored over 100 goals playing from the left wing. I remember sitting with him one day and reading one of the books, and it said in there, Peter Wright 99 goals. So I said to him, I thought you told me you scored 101 goals. He said, the year I got 2 goals at Accrington, the year that they didn't complete their fixtures and they got abolished from the league. So they took them 2 goals off me, but now they're back in the league again. I'm gonna put my 2 goals back on again. So as far as I'm concerned, I've scored 101 goals.
Excellent.
But I've got some of his scrapbooks at home, and he was a much sought after player. Alf Ramsey. I mean, my nana and granddad would often say Alf Ramsey's been round again today, and they were looking to sign him at Ipswich.
Yeah.
Alf Ramsey was a manager at Ipswich at the time. You read through his scrapbook, and one particular little paragraph I thought was really nice. It said that if Peter Wright would have signed for Birmingham or Wolves, which were both of them clubs were after him, and he chose not to go. If he would have signed for Birmingham or Wolves, I'm convinced he would have gone on to play for England, which I thought was a really nice comment.
Did he ever say why he didn't go?
He claims that he was working full time in Colchester, and his love for Colchester was that great that he didn't really want to go. And I think that is the reason that is pure that he stayed at Colchester, is why he won the Player of the Century in the year 2000, and that resulted in him having he's got a statue now.
I've seen it
on the centre circle, on the centre spot of the old Layer Road ground, which is
and his name's mentioned in it.
Oh yeah, it's all round the bottom. Is his name? It shows how many games he played.
Can you remember what your first professional wage was?
Yes, my first contract at Colchester when I signed when I was 18 was £75 a week.
My first wage packet was £18 in 1977.
Yeah.
So that
was quite a good.
So that's a good comparison between a skilled football player and a non-skilled baker.
I was a master baker.
That's where you got your bun fetish from, I reckon.
I used to put the hole in donuts.
Right, saying well.
I actually worked at Alston's, the furniture place, prior to signing contract, and I can remember that the money wasn't that different. Wasn't a lot of difference.
Oh, right.
On that.
Well, that's what.
It was certainly higher.
That's what I remember. I remember getting that. At 17, I was. So So playing alongside, obviously, thousands of players. Who was the best player to play alongside?
For me, one of the persons I look up to, and he was there at Colchester when I first signed as an 18-year-old, was Steve Dowman.
Okay.
Yeah, I went on to play with Steve for many years after finishing football in the finishing professional football for the likes of mainly for Wivenhoe. Really, Steve was the manager there, and I think he was a terrific centre half.
Yeah,
he was actually at Wrexham when I first went there as well.
Oh, okay.
He had just he was just leaving Wrexham to go higher again.
Yeah,
as I went to Wrexham, but. For me, I also, in the centre halves union, you've mentioned Steve Wignall already. I played with Steve for
no disrespect, he was my favourite at Colchester.
a great player, and reading the game and Mickey Packer as well. He was an older professional as I was starting, but he took me under his wing very much so, and them 3 guys really, Steve Wignall and Steve Dowman and Mickey Packer, fantastic professionals.
So now I've got this surprise for you, Steve, and Jeff Wood.
Oh,
he wrote to me last night, so I put on Facebook.
Yeah, he was the guy who got me over. He was the goalkeeper for our HJK Helsinki team. Fantastic bloke. He was the one who got me over to play in Finland, and he was the one who said that I was better than Keith Osgood.
And he was reserve at Colchester, wasn't he? A reserve goalie there. He was
understudy to Mick Walker. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he wrote, "Hi Martin, saw your post, reference Steve." Charlie, so I did know your nickname, really. I played with him and shared apartment with him in Helsinki.
He did indeed.
Can you pass on my details? I've been in Spain mostly and I've lost contact. So I've got all these details here. So I'll give them to you afterwards.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
We'd love
Yeah,
to speak to him
so,
again. Fantastic.
I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was
little
absolutely
chat.
brilliant.
So,
I'm sure we could go on for ages and ages and
I
ages.
could. Steve's one of the people, even on the phone the other day when we was talking about football, I could have spoke for ages about it.
Yes.
No, and I didn't even bring in my Dixie McNeil story to you.
We'll have to come on and we'll have to have you back another day.
Part 2, hey? Part 2.
Definitely.
Thanks very much, Steve, for those stories.
you.
That's absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And perhaps you would agree to come on again.
Yeah, love to.
Yeah,
love
lovely.
to.
Okay, so well, that's a wrap for another week.
Yeah.
What we're doing next week?
I can't remember.
I know what we're doing.
What's that?
Me and you are just having a chat in the studio.
That's right, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Good job one of us can remember. Anyway, big thanks to Steve.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Loved it.
And we'll see you all again next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Same time, same place.
Bye.